Badass Records podcast is where we hang one-on-one, talk about your story and some of your favorite records along your life's journey. And I've made it work to this point, but to be frank, I need guests. So if you live in the Kansas City area, or you know somebody in the Kansas City area that would be a good guest, or if you're going to be in the Kansas City area and you want to stop by, hit me up, badassrecordspodcast@gmail.com. It's badassrecordspodcast@gmail.com. You can find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter and kind of sort of TikTok. Badassrecordspodcast.com gives you everything you're looking for, the story about the show, some merch, etc. Nevertheless, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoy the show.
I'd like to try Wu-Tang style. Let's begin then.
Shaolin shadow boxing and the Wu-Tang sword style. Hey, what you say?
So this will be episode 60 of the Badass Records podcast.
0.
Yeah, and kicking in with the Jett Pakk.
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
Going good.
Let's see. So you did episode 2, and then we had you back for episode 31. And as we were wrapping up, if I remember correctly, I was like, "Well, not wait 31 episodes again," and we almost did.
Yeah, almost did.
To
You kept your promise. It's
right.
only, 29 now.
So you boldly and courageously agreed to sort of lift the lid on the Wu-Tang rabbit hole and go down it with me.
Yes.
And where that stems from for me is, sometimes for whatever reason you buy a record or a tape, as this was back in the day, and it just doesn't click. And so at some point I bought a cassette copy over there of Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, and I was just like, I don't like this at all. Like,
Really?
Yeah, and I know I tried it a few times. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I ever got all the way through it.
And this is when it came out?
Ish.
Okay.
So that was 93-ish. I got it right here, actually. 93, so no, it would have been probably more like 97-ish by the time I got it. But I didn't, it wasn't that different from any other time you hear about an artist, or somebody recommends an artist, or you hear a song, so you buy the record and then you just don't like the rest of the album.
Yeah.
It wasn't that different, except for just not everything is for everybody.
True.
Fast forward all these years later, and they've become, legendary. I think when I first really started to pay attention, like they would get several mentions on Chappelle's show.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't sit down and religiously watch that. It was always random.
Mm-hmm. He really, those early 2000s when he was on, he really pushed. He kept them kind of in the mix. Plus, he knew his audience.
Right.
I'm talking to slightly older 20s, mid to older 20s that were in their teenage years when Wu-Tang. So, just like him.
Yeah.
Mid to late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
People that love just anything that he would have said about Wu-Tang, you're going to key in on. You're going to yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
So it's kind of like, I love Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
I loved his, I've loved all of his specials, but his two big ones, Killing Them Softly, and I can never remember the name of the other one, but they're both phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if he likes them, then there must be something that I'm missing out on, but I didn't do anything with that information. And it wasn't really until, I kind of got the pieces in place to do this that they really started popping up quite a bit, just randomly.
Yeah.
And then I had a dude, episode 13, I think it was, Adam Boyd. He just mentioned, I'll do an episode with you. And so we start talking about his list, and he was like, well, I went to make a top 20 when pandemic happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back and revisited, re-listened to all the things and made some cuts, and here's what I wound up with. So he sends me this list of like 16 records. So I was like, well, do my best to dive into,
as many as you can
for his episode.
Yeah.
One of them was
36.
Yeah, and I was like, I still don't like this.
Really?
But by this time, at least I know I'm very familiar with Cash Rules Everything Around Me.
Yeah.
Dollar Dollar Bill, the hook.
Yep.
I'm like, that's a cool song. But I just and again, so a list of 16 records. I didn't spend a ton of time with it, but I was like, it's weird, nothing's changed. And then even more, so that was like a year ago. So in the last year, like they're just everywhere, like on TikTok.
Yeah.
Conversations with people. And so we started chatting. I saw you repping. You were repping at Swope one day, and I was like, and then we've talked about them a little bit, I think, on your
my
previous
podcast. Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I really got to rip this Band-Aid off and figure out.
Yeah, because there's a lot of older hip hop heads that would say the day that album came out is the same day that Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest came out. And there a lot of older hip hop heads say that was the day that true old school hip hop died. Like that was it.
Okay.
Like the way it was produced, the way it was everything. And
Okay.
just that was the day that it just
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I say that much. I would say that much, but I was in California when I first heard Cream.
Okay.
And it was late night, and they had this station on there where you could call in 1-800 and pay 10 cents, and you could request a video.
Really?
Yeah, so it'd be going down the scroll, and it would be Wu-Tang Cream 7746 or the last four digits. Whatever you dialed, those last four digits was the video number.
Okay.
So you would get people. So one late night, I saw watching it go by, and I caught it, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Like
the video,
okay. and also just the song, and just Cream, dollar bill, y'all, and I'm like, and I mean they're around the trash can, and it's gritty.
Yeah,
and it's New York, which I'm out in California, so from Midwest to California, I mean always New York holds such a. It's the birthplace of hip hop, obviously.
Right,
so,
right.
But it was like, well, I've transitioned. I'm more listening to West Coast stuff and G Funk and gangster and just. And then I saw that, and I'm just like, what?
What were you doing in California?
My mom was out there.
Okay.
That was during some of those troublesome times with the mom and everything.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
Out there hanging with her?
Yeah, hanging, learning shit.
Sure.
That was almost an educational trip. That was like,
Right,
oh, okay,
right.
you could do this and this. And
Well, so, we have, whether we've bit off more than we can chew or not, we're going to give it our best. And
give it our best.
So where we landed with this was to sort of look at the Wu-Tang discography and then look at all of the individual discographies, which, at some point, again, going back to my first listen to 36 Chambers, at some point I realized how many people there were and that they went and did all this other stuff. And so by fast forward to, around this time when the podcast is getting off the ground, I'm doing episodes, it's like, that's too much. It's too intimidating
it's a big one.
Like, I certainly don't have the time to really, really, truly consume it all and then have an educated opinion.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of just...
You sent me that list, and I was like, I didn't even realize. And I mean, heck, I've got it tattooed on me and everything.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, that's
that's so
a lot of albums right
I know.
there.
So where we landed was basically 80 studio albums. We've got 7 of theirs, I think, and then all the individuals. So today, for the purpose of this first go around, we're gonna try and dig into just their stuff.
Yep, the group themselves.
So Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, 93. And when I was talking to my buddy, it's like I learned that the 36 chambers is 9 members times 4 heart chambers gives you 36 chambers.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of cool. And then to sit down for this, it's like, wait, there's like a 10th dude, so to speak. And it's like, obviously Old Dirty Bastard, rest in peace. But then Capadonna is in the mix, and
was
then
an associate at the
an
time.
associate.
Yeah,
and
later
then
became a full-fledged member.
right. But then who was it that somebody went to jail for a good while?
Master Killer.
Okay.
Did some time.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple of them actually did a little bit of time.
Yeah,
a little bit of time.
But I thought I saw that Capadonna did.
Capadonna did a
Okay.
bunch of time.
Okay.
Yes.
Yet
Yeah.
somehow put out more records than anybody else.
I know. I did not realize when you sent me that list. I did not. He was not. I'm nothing but respect for him and everything, but he's not on my huge radar as far as members and everything.
Sure. Yeah.
And I everybody's got their member. Tons. The novice, the fly by night. Oh, Method Man or Old Dirty Bastard. Especially you remember. Ooh, baby, you got to be that song with like Mariah. What was it? The song with Mariah Carey.
Okay.
Early 2000s. Sorority girls, every girl in the bar. Just, oh well.
This is Method Man.
No, Old Dirty
ODB,
Bastard.
okay.
Yeah, and so everybody's got their favorite, but I never heard too many people. Oh yeah, Capadonna. Oh,
Right.
Yeah,
No.
Capadonna.
No.
Even I was looking at this shirt that I've got.
Yeah.
Capadonna's not
Not
even on
listed.
there. Not listed. And I swore he was, and I looked down today before I walked out of the house, and I was like, huh. Wow, I didn't. Okay.
Fascinating.
Yeah, fascinating.
So let's see here.
So yeah, the group themselves have put out a few different albums. Their first 2 would be their most commercially successful ones.
36 Chambers
And Wu-Tang Forever.
And Wu-Tang Forever, which had what 4 years between the two of them.
4 years. Which even those 4 years, there was so much discussion. Are they even going to put one
Right.
out? Because individual success had really started hitting. Which that was going back to the very beginning of them all. And the genius of the RZA, who him and Jizza, cousins, they both had individual record deals before Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay.
RZA was called Prince Hakeem, I want to say.
Okay.
And then Jizza was the Genius.
Right.
The Genius. And because Jizza grew up in Brooklyn.
Right.
And Ben-Stuy and everything, where everybody else was from Staten Island. That's how they got them mixed. But they had individual record contracts that kind of just didn't go anywhere. So they already knew the insides of the business. Right. So when RZA when he came up with this and presented it to the other guys, Method Man, Old Dirty, Inspector, he told them up front, we're going to get a contract as a group, but I'm going to keep it open that you guys can go sign anywhere else.
Oh, okay.
And get your money.
Okay.
We'll have our group contract, but you, Method, you want to go to Def Jam, you want to go to wherever, RCA, Sony, blah, blah, blah. Go get that, but we'll always still be the Wu-Tang Clan.
Right.
So that was a huge thing, and that was a stopping factor for a little bit for them getting signed. Because, record companies, no. We want you, we want the whole group, and then we want individual. We want all those individual. So they fought, and they won.
Right.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It was definitely a beautiful thing, and a genius move on RZA's part.
For sure. I got Force of the Imperial Master, RZA, Jizza, etc. But RZA was dropped by Tommy Boy in favor of House of Pain.
Yep.
Leading him to say, "Damn, they chose a bunch of white boy shit over me."
Well, and his Prince, I remember seeing. I don't remember it when it was out, but once I saw a video of it, watching of Mice and Men, or not of Mice, is it Mice and Men? The Wu-Tang documentary.
Okay, yeah.
It's on Amazon. You can buy it for like $6.99. I went ahead and did it. I was like, well, this is worth it.
Yeah.
But when they did show a video of him, I was like, that kind of sparked something. Like, I think I remember seeing him, but it didn't register because he was kind of. They tried to make him this. That was back when they, God bless hip hop. There was so many lanes back then in the early '90s where you could be gangster or you could be African centric and everything, or the lover man or something. And they tried to put him in that African lover man right there in between where it just
weird.
It wasn't going to go anywhere.
Okay.
It was one of those niches where it was like, you're going to do one album and that's it. Like you might be touring malls after this.
So regardless of what I think, the world seems to love and covet 36 Chambers. I mean, Rolling Stone put it 27th on their top 500 of all time.
Yeah.
It's been preserved by Library of Congress in the National Recording Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. I don't think it's a secret that it's been like somewhat low production quality, inexpensive equiment for this first one.
It was bathrooms, basements,
and just start to back, just really did very little for me personally.
It was, and I can understand that, kind of knowing you and knowing your music taste and all that.
Yeah.
Where, and not to, by no means, I always laugh when I get no disrespect.
Yeah.
Guess what's getting ready to happen?
Yeah.
But knowing where your musical tastes are, and I can imagine where you were in the early '90s when this was coming out compared to where I was.
Right.
Where it was the gritty and rawness was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was what always brought me to hip hop.
Interesting.
Because of punk.
Right.
And that raw, just hungry.
Well, my guy, he said this was the first time that, and a lot of punk and post-punk and on his list, and he said, I remember feeling for the first time ever when I listened to 36 Chambers that this record was made for me.
Nice.
And I was like,
nice. Then
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was just, exactly. And it did. I mean, people, because when I moved back from California back into South Dakota, and everybody's all West Coast gangster, gangbang, and I tried, fuck that. It was more the white boys and the skaters that were loving
Interesting.
Wu-Tang. And like the homies, it took a little bit.
Sure.
Then they all came around.
Yeah.
I mean, Method Man, his song, I got myself a shorty, I got myself a 40, and I'm about to go and stick it. They were, but white skaters just jumped on it.
Wow.
I mean, it was just that rough and just like, okay. And
so,
like I said, go back, I mean, punk. I mean, if you're into that kind of just raw, gritty music, you're going to find like this style and you're like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Now, there's been other groups out there that have kind of tried that, like Onyx, I would say one.
Not so much.
No.
Okay.
And it takes, for me, I mean, it's tough to pull off a rap group.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's an industry of all look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Big personalities.
Big personalities.
Saying, look at me.
I mean, almost like MMA wrestler type personalities.
Right.
Like overblown.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some for these guys, no.
Right.
Like they were talking being in the streets.
So when I put together the list of the discography, I knew there was, obviously I knew 36 Chambers.
Yeah.
I also knew there was a record called Wu-Tang Forever. That was the extent of my knowledge. Mm-hmm. So get it on paper. All right, let's hammer these out. And so I think that I kind of expected to feel differently, another time through 36 Chambers. And when I didn't, I was like, well, let's move on to Wu-Tang Forever. And I was like, fuck, this is a double record.
Yeah.
This is double the content, and I'm feeling pretty skeptical. Mm-hmm. But I was blown away.
That was their critically, I mean, the first one was critically acclaimed. That is the one that put them into every household. They were not just this niche at that point. Plus, you saw in the videos, too, the money that was poured into it. And you know what? I forgot to bring it. I've got Rolling Stones with RZA and Zach De La Rocha on the cover.
Oh, really?
When they're getting ready to start the Wu-Tang Rage Against the Machine tour, and they talk about the
They
production.
toured together?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
They only for a brief time. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. But they talk about the production. That album, there was so much money put into that album.
Really?
By the record company.
Okay.
They rented a house.
You can tell.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It was like, okay, 36, you're like, wow, this dude who produced this album's a genius because he was able to put this together. Wu-Tang Forever, you're like, holy crap, who is this guy? Because now if you put money behind him, it's 10 times better.
I mean,
Wu-Tang Forever, I love it. I do love it, but I mean, 36 for me is the creme de la creme.
Okay.
Even like I was watching some of the videos, and the production level is just so much cleaner and more Hollywood, and a lot of green screen. I'm like, I love it, but I'm also like, man,
right?
I want to see people with the messed up teeth and not had a good haircut in a couple months,
right? Well, Wu Revolution, powerful, build heavy start to the album. Reunite is powerful. For heaven's sake, some of the best bars and verses I had heard, ever by them. And, you get to Severe Punishment, and for whatever reason, it occurred to me to jot down this Apple Music blurb. This LP is a record-setting skyscraper of hip-hop. No matter which of the Wu-Tang's 9 MCs has the mic, every verse seems to build on the last, which I'd agree with at that point. A third of the way through, I'm like, this started strong, and it keeps building. Yeah,
they went into it too. There was like I said, there was a lot of doubts that they could replicate.
Sure. Okay.
Individual success was huge right then, and egos, because there was already rumblings about people being unhappy about money from the first album, and what am I going to get on the second album? They've tasted the success. So when they rented a house out in L.A., they were out there when Biggie got shot too.
Okay.
And so they're East Coast out in L.A. when all that's popping off, and a lot of people were like, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Right.
They got put up in a house, and that's where they stayed. Almost went back to the old school, like, no, we're going to force ourselves to do this. They recorded everything there,
Oh, wow.
like rock, how, Chili Peppers have done it, Nirvana, Metallica, all the greats have posted up in a house and recorded music, and it somehow comes out like, wow, that's one of their best albums ever. That's what they did. And I mean, they were out to prove that was not a fluke. Like, we are the greatest hip-hop group. Well, we're not just a one hit and also a bunch of individuals.
Right.
We're Wu-Tang.
Right.
And the Wu is higher than anything else.
Yeah. So Deadly Melody is what would start off disc 2, which is wicked good. A little intimidating. Some sinister and dark, which sort of tracks for what I kind of expected their reputation to be. And I mean, it just keeps going.
Building
the city, the projects. I get that equipment for the first record was cheap, but again, the turnaround just phenomenal. And I know that doesn't work for everybody because some people want the gritty,
Yeah,
but
it with any band, it starts to happen.
Yeah,
you don't get to sell 300,000 records or 3 million records and say, I'm going to make my next one in my garage again.
Right.
And we're going to, Mom's still cooking.
Yeah.
We're doing vocals in the bathroom. You don't get to say that anymore. And I think, people want the grittiness, and I think I've said it on both of my shows, the hunger.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about any first album. I love hearing that hunger from rock, hip hop. I guess that's about where my genres stop. But
I meant to hand these out as we go.
Oh, nice, nice
track listing.
Yeah, crib sheets, love it. The hunger, but I also with Wu-Tang Forever, it was. I mean, they were on TRL.
Oh,
I mean, back in the day,
Carson Daly.
Yeah, for what's the the test is on, so Triumph.
Okay.
Yeah, for that big. I mean, that was $1 million video.
An all-star track without question, deserving of the asterisk, which the streaming service puts in there.
Yeah.
I didn't know it, but
I
I was
did
like,
not know
that
that either.
deserves it. Bells of War was sick and officially my new favorite song at the time. But this was, very exciting and very invigorating to know that, with 5 more to go beyond this, and I have a completely
New outlook.
Yeah. Quote from Method Man, I think maybe sort of speaks to what you were saying about the Wu always being the sum of our parts is worth all of the organizing. It's like the Power Rangers where they come together to form that Megazord shit. This album will destroy every hip-hop record made in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, confidence.
Huge confidence. And they understood. I think that goes back to when they first were joined that we can't, we're all killer MCs on our own right, but we have to come together as the Wu to get this done, to get to where we need to be. And I mean, just the 5 fingers of the fist, and they each mean something. And once they close, they're all powerful.
Right.
And I mean, so they understood that. And it was a different time too. 97, looking at that too, is where I was too, was like, it came out and I was like, oh, I didn't get a chance until it had already been out for a while to really do it, like sit down and just listen and just finally. And then when I finally did, I was like, oh yes, okay. There's no drop off in my opinion.
Right.
It's cleaner. They're older. They're smarter.
Right.
And you could tell too lyrically. It was just like, whew.
Well, I mean, whatever you're gonna, excuse me, whatever you're gonna do from album 1 to album 2, like if album 1 was popular or successful at all, the last thing you want to do is flop.
Oh, it kills.
And so I think that you naturally wind up, you taking a lot of gambles, taking a lot of risks. So it should be good, but I don't know that I've ever seen a ballsier second outfit than to come out and be like, our new one has 27 songs and it's 2 hours and change.
Yeah.
It's like, huh?
Yeah.
So,
where the first one goes by so quick.
It does.
They're short 2.5 minute songs where, Triumph's 5.5 minutes. I mean, I'm looking at that 1, 2, 3, at least 3, almost 4 with a 4:52. Who puts out 5-minute songs? That's not rap,
in rap and hip hop.
Yeah,
not many.
That's a DJ set.
Yeah.
Are we mixing some EDM in this?
Right.
I mean, nobody. But yet, they knew our bass is gonna be with us 100%.
Right.
And that's the clout of them. And any good artist is
crazy to think that you have a bass after one record.
After one, but they saw it. See, they saw the glimmer. The Wu-Tang Rage was in between these albums.
Oh, okay.
And so they get on this tour, and they're not. They're very skeptical about it because they're like Rage, and they listen to Rage and like it's gonna be nothing but white boys and all. And oh, dude, yeah, metal.
Angry white boys.
Exactly. That's exactly. But then they get there, and they're like, no, these are the white boys that we fuck with. These are the stoners.
For real?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they're like, okay, these are cooler. These aren't angry.
Right.
These are, if they're angry. Same reasons we're angry.
Yeah.
Injustice and everything. And so it's going, and they're building. Well, then their manager at the time booked them for a Hot Jams show in New York that's every summer. I don't know if it is anymore, but back in the day,
sure.
I forget, Hot Jams 97, whatever. It's the big hip hop station there, and I mean they can make and break you basically, and that's how they got on. Was they snuck a tape into a DJ there at night, and he put it on, Protect Your Neck.
Okay,
and it snuck on, and that's where you get the call on it. Like, you want me to play it again? Yeah, play it again. And it did. It blew up like that. And like, play it again, play it again. So the grassroots, so they kind of felt like they were obligated to go back to them. And they went back, and if I remember correct, I was going to double check this before I came over, but I want to say they didn't really get on stage, or they only got on stage for like half their set because Puffy and his little Bad Boy Entertainment, Mace and all them were on there and went over on their set and ate into Wu-Tang's time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so they didn't really get to do a full set. So members were kind of pissed off about that. And then they were supposed to get back on a plane and fly to like Minneapolis to rejoin the tour. And some of them at this point were like, man, fuck that. I ain't doing that, you know. And so they dropped.
So how many shows did they?
They did
like a couple or a dozen?
four,
Oh,
maybe
that's
four,
it.
4 or 5.
Okay.
But the hype, like I was planning on going to Denver and seeing them. Like there was the hype. People were starting to say, I mean, it was like
back in '97 or
yeah,
whatever. Okay.
Oh yeah, it was starting to,
maybe.
You know, the trickles of, oh, did you heard that Wu-Tang and Rage on? Yeah. Oh, I'm hearing it's an amazing show. Blah 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 blah. And so like I was like, they're coming to Denver. I'm gonna just.
And how did Puffy wind up in the mix?
He was at the Hot Jams show.
Oh, okay.
And they ate into Wu-Tang.
This is multiple, or not just the two of them.
No.
Okay.
This was back then was Bad Boy Entertainment, so it was like Puffy, Biggie, Mace,
Right.
And they were all the. You know, that was when hip hop was going to the flashy. I've got the big cars. I'm wearing the jewelry. You know, trying to get away from the gangster, but get away from the street gangster to now I'm the boardroom gangster.
Okay.
$1
Yeah,
million,
yeah.
dancing around. You know, just shit that I was not into.
Right.
I was just like.
So you were going to go to Denver?
I was going to try to go to Denver and see Wu-Tang and Rage.
And
then they pulled the plug. Minneapolis was supposed to be the next stop, and they pulled it, and they didn't show up to Minneapolis, and the tour got canceled.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of those members in the last documentary I watched. They regret that because they knew how much more successful in the beginning they would have been. Because they were like, we are tapping into that suburban white audience that if you get in there if you're a hip hop artist and you get in that audience,
they'll buy your records.
They'll buy everything. They'll buy everything.
T-shirts, right?
Records, posters.
Yeah.
You can do no wrong to these people.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
they could do a lot of wrong to you.
Oh, yeah. And have, but
right, yeah.
You get on there, and they knew it, and now they're like, yeah, we're successful, blah blah blah, but it could have came a little faster. It came a little earlier,
right?
You know.
Well, so you know, again, beyond 36 Chambers, these all first listens for me. So I don't have anything to fall back on. So as we move through these, like, let me know if it was a first listen for you, or it was a refresh, or if you have a story associated with a particular.
I'll say it. First listens for a lot of the last couples.
Okay.
They fell.
Yeah, well, it happens.
Yeah,
it happens.
And even listen to them, I'm like.
Like, if somebody said to you, tell me one of your friends that's a fan of fill in the blank band that knows all of that band's albums, like. That's not a common thing, I don't think.
And they have to be an iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, like Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Beatles. Even Beatles I can't.
I couldn't do Beatles.
There's some of those early 50s. They put out these so many little poppy albums. That I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
But Zeppelin would be one of the few.
Zeppelin, Floyd, Fish. For me,
for you.
The Dead, I don't even know all their studio stuff. I know of it, I think, but
Dre, Eminem,
sure,
Outkast.
Okay,
would be.
You've kept up with all the Eminem records.
I dropped off there for a little bit, but
he's put out double digits, right?
Or very close to. But here recently, tried to keep up with a couple of them. But yeah, definitely Outkast.
Nice.
Yeah, I've listened.
They're not double digits, are they?
No.
They're like only 6, 7.
Maybe only 5. Really.
Okay.
Yeah, really only 5.
Wow.
Yeah, there's not too many that I could see. And I want to honestly say, yeah, I do know their whole discography.
Well, so.
Anyways, yeah.
36 Chambers 93, Wu-Tang Forever 97, and then we go to the W 2000.
2000, yep.
And I was like, from something that has in multiple decades done very little for me to something that really, really blew my mind. Like, what's next? Like, what is this third record going to be like? And I notice right out of the gate, you've got Isaac Hayes, Redman, Nas, Busta Rhymes, Snoop Dogg, Junior Reed, getting a heavy feature doses,
And that was the trend back then too.
Absolutely.
Late 90s, early 2000s, the trend was to be a very heavy guest people. It started with No Limit Records with
Master P. Yeah.
He would have every record. Would have every member of No Limit on there.
Right.
At least one song would have a different member. So it started that, and then it started just everybody else like, well, yeah, why not? Let's do it. I mean,
absolutely.
If we're making good music and everything.
Last Wu-Tang record with ODB.
Yes.
So R.I.P. and peace to him after this one. Nothing too. The first couple of 3 tracks, nothing too remarkable. For whatever reason, by the time we're to Red Bull, it occurred to me to ask you, what are your thoughts about the martial arts ties or influences or glorification of? It's kind of quietly in the Wu-Tang fabric.
Yeah, well, that's where RZA came up with the Wu.
Okay.
The Wu-Tang was the most powerful, how do you describe it? The most mysterious and powerful swordsman out there in the martial arts land.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's, I'll probably butcher it, and any other person would be like, geez, that dude. But, that's where he came, because he was a huge martial arts movie fan growing up and sneaking into the theaters and watching them,
nice.
and, the old school dub.
Sure.
And so he knew the Wu was the most powerful man or powerful swordsman, maybe even just a powerful style. So he took that, and then you added the Jizza, and he explains this so well. The Jizza is the genius of the group, and each member, their name means something towards the whole dynamic of the Wu.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does you God mean? It always is one that just kind of stands out as
you God. What was that? I'm gonna.
I was just sort of rhetorically asking, but somewhere maybe during Red Bull, I caught in a room full of crackers, I might cut the cheese. That's one of their lines. This dude Rob Fern of Q magazine called Wu-Tang Forever filler bloated, and I wanted to get on a plane and fly to where that guy is and slap him in the face, because I don't consider that.
It was a good album. It definitely would not, if that was their first one ever, they would have been okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it sounds like folks liked this one quite a bit.
People did. It was 2000 was a tough time. Even as far as you had to there was so much hip hop out at that time.
Yeah.
So much. And it was, once again, back to the fingers of the hip hop hand. There was so much. And then you also had new metal coming in, which was blending metal and hip hop together, it was a tough time in 2000.
Yeah.
To really Eminem's blowing up.
Yeah.
Dre's coming out with the Chronic. It was a tough one. I remember listening to it and thinking, yeah, I like that. But then it didn't get put in any kind of rotation in my mind. Because of the other stuff.
Yeah.
That was,
which is weird, to me, the 2000 to 2008 or 2010, I don't know if I was just in a different space and had different things going on, but it felt to me like there was a real lull of creativity musically.
In 2000?
Well, in that basically the decade 2000 to 2010, and I've mentioned this to one other person, and that person was immediately like, "Oh, see, I would consider that one of my favorite eras ever," and I was like, fair enough, but this is specifically to hip hop. I feel like that's kind of the beginning of starting to get just the first initial lean in the mumble rap direction.
I liked it. I would say, Man, that's a tough one. I would have. That's almost a show itself. Sitting here thinking about that because I would have to go back and hear and really because, I'm sitting here thinking, 2000, 2010. You had Eminem,
yes.
first two albums. You at least had another Outkast album.
Mm-hmm.
You had a couple Jay-Z albums during that. You had Kanye.
Yeah, that's
Kanye had his first two albums, which he is what he is. You know what? And I guess I put Kanye like Michael Jackson nowadays.
Okay.
Like I can separate. Michael Jackson is one of the greatest artists of all time.
Yeah.
And he has songs that still mean so much to me because they just were my childhood.
Yeah.
Kanye, those first two albums. Phew, I mean,
really?
Late registration and graduation, just oh my God, you could. But yeah, it was a. Well, you had Ludacris. It was coming out with. He had like two albums. That's interesting. Now, rock, in my opinion, rock at that time really was. Ugh.
That's
it
more
what
I was thinking.
Yeah, it got more.
You had this big spike in sort of like the poppy, pop rock kind of, and then like some alternative stuff happening, and then I don't even know what else.
Yeah.
Not much else.
A lot of, if I remember correctly, a lot of whining music.
Yeah,
of, woe is me, my mom this, but I'm like, get the fuck over
just
it.
the stuff that I'm hearing,
I think we're in that period now.
Yeah, but a lot of boring stuff back then. Whiny, boring.
No fun. No, there was no fun. It was just like, and then for like hip hop, it was like fun that I don't have $1 million. I don't have no speedboat.
Right.
I'm not in the game anymore. So even when I wasn't speedboating anywhere.
Right. So the Monument closes it up. It's the biggest feature names. You got Snoop, Nas, and Busta Rhymes, and Busta's track he's always fantastic featuring.
He's always on point. He was there. He closed out the show. I saw him.
Okay.
In St. Louis here last
That's
summer.
right. That's right.
Wu-Tang,
I forgot about that.
Wu-Tang, Nas, and then Busta Rhymes closed the show.
And you said it was fantastic,
it was
right?
Great. They did they alternative. Wu-Tang came on first, did about 3 songs, 4 songs.
That's right.
Nas comes out during the middle of one of the last songs. Hypes comes in a little bit. He does 3 or 4 songs. Wu-Tang comes back out again.
Wow.
3 or 4 songs. And they just boom, boom, boom for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Nice.
And then they give half hour to Busta. And he just
killed it.
Killed it. And I mean, there was not too many young people. It was a lot of our age, a couple a little younger, 30s. I guess I did see a couple teenagers with parents.
Right.
I mean, that's totally a show I'd take Guinness.
Right.
In a heartbeat.
Right.
I'm like, you're coming to this show with me. But yeah, it was good.
Well,
it was the first time I was ever been able to see Wu-Tang, and it was just like,
hell yeah.
Method wasn't there. But
Right.
I got to see Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, and I saw Led Zeppelin.
Nice. Yeah, exactly.
I've seen Roger Waters.
Yeah.
I've seen Pink Floyd.
Yeah. So when we're gonna sit down and try to tackle this the first go around, I had accidentally left out Iron Flag from the list, which
I had never heard.
Okay, did you give it a listen?
I tried to. It just, for me, it didn't register. Once again, it didn't register. I was trying, and I was like, it's on my radar now, where I was even telling myself Friday, because it was nice outside, and so I was hoping to get home and try to listen to this again, and being more of in a relaxed, that good headspace setting where I'm like, okay, no judgment. I'm just here to put this on, and let's see what happens. And the first time I tried to, I was just like,
well,
other things were going on, and
I think I mentioned this to you. If we would have sat down then, I would just have said, my mistake, my bad. I'll have to listen to it another time. But because we pushed to today,
you were able to listen to it,
and I love it.
Really,
I remember like basically the whole listen, thinking to myself, wow, I'm really grateful that this worked out the way that it did, and I got to give it a listen, because I would hate to just dismiss it and then never talk about it again.
Wow.
And so In the Hood, crazy good opening, 30 seconds. Rules, War, great energy. Top Wu-Tang, top 10 Wu track, no question for me. Chrome Wheels is fly and funky. Flavor Flav, Soul Power, Black Jungle.
Nice.
He's, I mean, I've never been a huge Flavor Flav guy, but he is what he is.
He is, yeah.
Uzi, Pinky Ring is killer. One good verse after another. One of these days was fantastic. Y'all Been Warned is super fly and dope. So, and my note, I'm almost done. This record is fantastic. I'm so pleased we had the push, and as it would have been a shame to omit it. And then De Glock was scary, and it felt very intentional. And then it closes with Dashing, which just left me feeling like it was a really, really sick record. And I was surprised by that because the W came out in 2000 and sort of, to me, was just kind of blah. Not a whole heck of a lot to write home about. And then a year later, they're putting out another record.
Yeah.
And it's almost, to me, was like the leap from 36 to Wu-Tang Forever and going from W to Iron Flag. I was like, but
each yeah.
It does,
that's the beauty of this. That's the beauty about this group is you can be no, this album's the one and there's that's the beauty of them and testament to them that you could have a 20 plus almost 30-year run and people are going to get to argue and debate about albums and everything, and not too many bands get to do that. And also, like you were saying, to put one out right after another one, and once again a crowded hip hop field. Yeah, and it went unnoticed. I mean, it really did. I mean, it was like, you said it, and I was like, what? And then I looked at it, I was like, okay.
Well, when I don't even know how I came across it, but I was like, wait, that doesn't feel familiar. So I went back to the list and I was like, I just completely missed it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, when you're in the right time and definitely worth a revisit. So 2001, and now we're in the beginning of this decade has started, and whatever's happening is happening. But they go 2000 to 2001 with back-to-back records, and then 6 years between Iron Flag and 8 Diagrams, which fascinating.
Yeah, another interesting one. This is where I think sometimes with bands is they get a little deep, little too much into it. I just
say more.
They're like, this one I did not like. I was just like, not that I wanted the grittiness. There was just something missing, and maybe it was the time frame of when it came out, and it's something I need to revisit in a new look at it in a different way.
Yeah.
But when I do remember this coming out, because I remember I had a buddy that would work together, and he was huge Wu-Tang, but he was younger, a little younger, so he was always, well, did you hear this? Did you hear this? And this came out, and I remember, what about this? And I remember riding with him. I'm like, I'm not feeling this.
Interesting.
Right now.
Interesting.
And I want to, in 07 too. See, that is,
you're still not a parent. Well, you've been a parent. You're not a second-time parent for a few more years.
Yeah. I was a lot of rock and roll at that time.
Okay.
A lot
interesting.
And also
this is kind of the crux of your Bonnaroo and whatnot.
Well, no, that's still a few years away, but this is also getting ready to get married. Getting ready to turn 30.
Okay.
So it was a little bit of different headspace as far as
I was
matters. I was more at that time. I want to say was more the Roots. I was listening to and everything.
I know next to nothing, and it's a whole other thing that I need to take the lid off and get. I know that I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, you're gonna love them
because I like what I've heard, and Questlove sort of seems like a genius to me. He
Yeah.
seems like everything he
Well,
touches.
and Black Thought, the lead MC, is a lot of people will say one of the most underrated MCs. Out
Okay.
there, and possibly could be one of the best that's in
Okay.
it right now.
Interesting.
He's just got it. Now, I would pay a good amount of money and travel a good amount of ways to go see them.
To go see him? Okay.
I've seen them twice, every single time.
Nice.
Perfect, exact. It's the type of show you walk out and like, that's exactly what I wanted.
I wish I would have given him a little bit more of my money.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, they're so. But this one, they are older, and I just, it was like, I felt like on this one you could have gone in a little bit different route as
Okay.
far as being older,
Sure.
and everything. Just a little bit instead of trying to hold on to kind of past stuff. And
Sure.
like, well, we've kind of grown up now.
Interesting.
And that's, I think I saw that in a lot of hip hop I was listening to at that point, like moving to the roots. Like, okay, I think I'm kind of getting older, which now I look back at it, I'm like, dude, that was bullshit. Like, you were you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
should
yeah.
have stayed you. You were trying to think you were getting older, but your tastes were still the same.
Right.
So,
Well, it opens with Campfire, which to me was the best. If this is 93, 96, so this is album 5. This is the best lead-off track I've heard so far.
okay.
And then Rushing Elephants, an energy and a crispness I'd not heard before. The Heart Gently Weeps, kind of messing around with some Beatles
Yep.
musicianship there. And then the way that the record closes, Stick Me for My Riches is incredible to me. And then you go Starter, Windmill, Weak Spot, Life Changes, and that run of whatever that is, 5 tracks,
Yeah.
is unbelievable. Like here's what was weird about it is that for that portion, all of the rest of my listen has been in this chair with these headphones on and this, but I was out. I had an aunt in town, and so we went to play Top Golf. So I was like, I can't. Like, time is of the essence.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to listen to a little bit on the road, which I can't. I'm not fully present. I can't really take
Yeah,
notes, but I just kept like looking back and being like, God damn, this is so good. And with all of these, most of these being first listens for me, it's like, what do I really have besides the release year, the album cover art, and maybe a kind of a rudimentary peek at liner notes. I don't have anything beyond that.
Yeah.
And so for them to be piquing my attention that much,
By the lyrics and the beats.
yeah,
Yeah.
just really, I was like, man, I've this is okay. It's like he was spring break. He downloaded Fortnite, which I think had been wanting to for a long time, and now it's like, it's just when can I get my next?
yeah,
And so he's always telling me about, like, if he I guess, have you played this game?
I played it once or twice.
Well,
but Guinness, yeah.
I guess the object is to win.
Yeah,
And
it's big time.
Be the last one alive, and you pick up loot along the way,
Yep.
and there's skins, and there's things you can buy, and this, that, and the other thing. I just, it's like when he gets to a new level of something, or he's giddy about it. And
big time.
so for them to close this record the way they did for me, it's like I unlocked a newer, deeper level of
Nice.
respect and admiration.
And got giddy about it.
Yeah, I was like,
that.
and it's like, now I'm excited to move on to the next one.
Yeah. And that run starts with a 6-minute song, and then you got a 4-minute, a 4-minute, and then a 4-minute, and then ends with a 7-minute song, which you don't do that. In really no genre, really, you get away with that
No.
unless you're a jam band or something.
Right.
And then especially hip hop, you're not doing that. You're not putting a 7-minute song, almost a 7.5-minute song. That's one thing I always appreciate about them is I don't care.
Yeah.
If they've got something to say.
Yeah.
And if and it never feels like when you get to those longer songs, they don't feel like you're like, okay, are we regurgitating
No.
the hook again?
No.
It's new lines, new verses.
Well, my final note, and again, not everything is for everybody, and whatever's happening at the time that you're listening to in your life it matters. But my closing note was might be their most impressive record to date. No slant at Wu-Tang Forever, but I dug it. Made me curious to see because that was 07. Now we go 7 more years.
Yep.
Better Tomorrow, 2014.
Yeah, which this one made no ripple at all.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, this came out, and I want to say I heard about it, but then again, and I was mad listening to hip hop all the time. 14, because that was Ireland's 4 years old. Guinness is 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm listening all the time, and it made nothing. Just loaded with 5-minute songs.
Well, okay, so it's let's see here. So it was unclear for a while if they were going to get this thing out, eventually done so maybe as a nod to the 20th anniversary of 36 Chambers. So that was the idea initially,
Okay.
but I think it kept getting pushed and kept getting pushed. And then, so they recorded in New York, L.A., and the Wu Mansion in New Jersey. I was not aware of such a thing. And I'm trying to remember, at some point, there was beef
Oh yeah,
between RZA
and
and Raekwon. I think Raekwon had, RZA and Raekwon had an alleged disagreement about the album's direction.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So, he was like, where I wound up with it was it sounded like RZA wanted to be, he wanted to include a sense of polishedness and crispness and maybe address a number of different themes and topics, and Raekwon was like, not down. I want to do the gritty, the hard, the in your face, the what we have kind of been sort of known for. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then by the time I finished listening to this record, I was like, man, fuck Raekwon. I like the direction, but you say it made no ripple.
Well, yeah, and I think where Raekwon was coming is RZA wanted to touch on social issues and things, world where Raekwon's like, we've never done that.
Right. Yes.
That's not.
Yeah.
The things we touch on is the things we touch our feet to. We know what the corner is. We know what the streets are. We know what Staten Island is, but we don't.
Yeah.
We're not here talking about injustices.
Right.
Police. So I understand that in that sense, but yeah, it didn't really. I was looking it up and I was like, you remember this? And then I was listening to it and I was like, okay. And I was searching the memory, and I was like, I
got nothing.
Huh. And I'm like, well, man, 14, that was 10 years ago. Still.
Right.
I'm listening to everything from still 10 years ago.
Right.
10, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this one was like, I don't know how it.
Right. Well, I don't know if this is the same one that you mentioned, but as I'm listening to this and looking around and making notes, I came across Wu-Tang and American Saga, a Hulu series.
Yep.
I remember seeing ads for it, but 2019 debut, season 3 aired in February, which I guess is the last one, and they're going to be done. Have you?
I haven't checked that out.
Okay.
I've heard nothing but great stuff about it.
It seemed like I just quickly
reviews.
poked around, and it seemed like folks were like,
yeah, the kid that plays RZA, I've seen him in other stuff.
okay,
he's a great actor. He's from L.A. And there's like a clip of him on the red carpet, and his idol Denzel Washington walks by and he meets him. And
Nice.
He's all giddy about it. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good stuff. And it's
So
just,
this is a 3-season series on Hulu. You said the documentary is on Amazon and
Yeah,
it's
you can buy-
$6 or whatever.
$6. It's 3 parts.
Okay.
It's of we'll just look it up right now.
And
Boom.
and highly recommend.
Highly
Okay.
recommend. It's them. It's them talking about themselves. And
Well,
everything.
I also came across Riz has put out a couple books. I just got
Yeah.
one, the Wu-Tang Manual, and then I didn't pull the trigger on the second one because I want to read the first one first. But then it's like, so they put out a couple books, and then other people start putting out books.
Out a couple,
you know.
too. Yeah, this one it was from Showtime, back in 19.
Okay.
Wu-Tang Clan of Mikes and Men.
Of Mikes and Men. That's right.
4 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there was another one too.
Wow.
That a documentary. What was it? The story of the Wu-Tang Clan. It's like
Interesting.
83 minutes. It was put out in 07.
You have not checked that
I
out?
have not
Okay.
checked that one out. I think ones like that, I've noticed they're like done. If it's, I don't know about this one, but there's other ones I've checked out that look the same, and they're done by like from the BBC, and it's just a reporter talking over videos, and it's like you get a person of a person's interview.
Right.
Yeah, I was there one day and saw this, and it's like, dude, you weren't there.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. Shut
Well,
up.
so at Preacher's Daughter, which is kind of the halfway mark of the record, my note was it's not an amazing record so far, but it's not bad either.
Yeah.
For this Better Tomorrow, Pioneer the Frontier, they come back with the sinister outlaw streets feel of cold-blooded intimidation and prowess. Ron O'Neal. Championship caliber verses, scratches, beats, samples, fine work. Like it was,
Nice.
that was a high point. Better Tomorrow, the title track. Here's my note. If this is the type of shit Raekwon wasn't digging, then Team RZA, man. Never Let Go is a powerful close to the record. And Wu-Tang Reunion, I just wrote, man, this has been a lot of fun. Like, our experiences can't be the same because a lot of it's first listen for me, and some of it for you is stuff you love, and some of it is stuff that you tried that didn't, for whatever reason. And I was like, well, okay, we got one more record to go.
And it, that goes with a lot of music and a lot of musicians is, you can't. I'd be hard pressed to find somebody that every single album their favorite band puts out, you're like, oh yeah, top to bottom, I'm there for it. Let's go, and everything.
So as I prepare to open my streaming service to listen to Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, 2015, do you know what I discovered?
Oh, you can't.
Yeah, do you know why?
Oh, because we only put out one.
Exactly.
Same with me. When you listed everything, I was like, what? And I went to my streaming service, and I'm looking. Oh yeah, this one that got everybody hyped up about.
What?
Pharma Bro. It's like,
yeah.
God damn.
So I guess the first time it was purchased, it went for $2 million.
Yeah.
And then the second time it went for like $6 or $7 million, and I don't think it's been sold a third time.
It's with the DOJ. I want to say in evidence.
Wait, what?
I want to say it's with the Department of Justice because the
Oh,
Pharma Bro had it.
right.
So all his shit got.
And he got in
seized.
trouble.
He got for fixing the numbers on pharmacy.
So
meds.
a nickel-plated box within a box. Leather interior, jeweled CD case, and a leather-bound 174-page liner notebook.
I can only imagine what's in that. Can only imagine the stories and just. Could also just be blank,
right? And so this is not an official track listing, but it looks like a very lengthy double album, and
because this was supposed to be it.
Right.
This is it. We're done.
And somebody was like, here's a list of working song names that we're recording and producing.
Yeah.
With here's what it looks like then. Who knows now?
Yeah.
But I also thought that I saw something where he was like, there's some fine print to a transaction or something that says in 2083 or 2183 is wherever it is that person is obligated to like
Get rid
play
of
it
Yeah.
or whatever.
Play it, yeah. Release it to the public.
I did also see that there were a couple of listening parties. Like
Yeah,
it
I
came
heard yeah.
came out and some folks just got to be
the
wherever,
lucky ones.
Yeah. I can't get away from like there's no way that this is like some incredible masterpiece. It's got to have
Well, it took forever too.
yeah.
Like it was
yeah.
talked about forever that they were working on this album.
But I mean, how crazy would it be if it actually was like a no skip incredible masterpiece?
Oh, I mean, you're looking at 31 songs.
It'd be pretty wild.
It would, and I do know that they've tried to get it back. They've tried to see what they have to do, and it's been fell on deaf ears, just nowhere. I mean,
Weird.
it's probably sitting in some marshal's house right
Yeah.
now. Some good old boy in Georgia.
One
on it.
freaking copy.
One copy. That it could be the greatest hip hop album ever.
I know.
And or it could be shit.
Right.
Just dog shit. And they're like, yeah, we're only putting one of these out.
Right. So I also think that I read,
And they don't do any of the songs. They don't.
really.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I think that I read that they maybe destroyed the masters too.
Oh, I could see
Like
that.
there's not a way. There's not a somebody doesn't. Two guys with two keys to open it, and now it's streaming.
Yeah,
I think it's just that.
just that. Yeah, which would not surprise me.
Right,
Would
no.
not surprise, with RZA. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, because I do remember him saying that he wants it's like a work of art. Like,
exactly.
this is our art.
Yeah.
And so you don't have a bunch of Mona Lisas out there. You've got the one. So this is our art, and and then it was also said this was going to be the final one, and it's done, over with, which I appreciate that, because you've got so many songs that you can go on tour and sell out places and be in such high demand that, I mean,
Do they want to tour right now, though? I mean, is that...
they seem like they were having a good time, and they continued to Europe.
Oh,
They're
okay.
going to Europe, and then coming back over to the United States and doing more shows in the United States.
No kidding?
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be over a year-long tour.
Okay. Wow.
So-
Good for them.
People want to see it.
Yeah.
People, I mean, there's our age group and all that want to go see this stuff.
Yeah.
And also, you're guaranteed to have a good time. Like, you really are. I mean, it could be Wu-Tang and just Busta Rhymes, or Wu-Tang somebody else. You're like, well, I know I'm going to have a good time.
Right.
I'm going to know at least 10 songs that I can dance to and rhyme to and everything.
Yep.
So that's the price of admission right there. And that's the beauty about them too, is there's only a handful of groups out there in any genre that you're guaranteed to have a good time when you'd have to be just a
Dud.
yeah. And why are you going if I'm not gonna have a good time?
Don't leave the house.
Yeah, just, dude, listen to whatever you got to listen to, and plot taking over the world,
Right?
Because this is, yeah. I mean, they're it's a testament, but there's something to be said that they are still around and still very relevant.
Yeah.
And still, they're maybe not making the music, but everybody. You put a song of theirs on, and everybody loves to hear it. And I was just looking at, they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet, but they will be.
There's talks, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, Eminem got it, where a lot of people they lost out to him, but I could see it next year.
Sure.
I mean, it's especially when you start putting hip hop in the Hall of Fame. You better make damn sure it's one that deserves to be in there.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just don't get to have one or two albums.
No.
You get to have a discography, and then plus your individual discography, plus the influence.
Yeah.
I mean, RZA started being the both Kill Bill movies. he was the music supervisor for
Seriously?
yeah, for Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, I didn't know
yeah.
that. Shit.
And once you start listening to it, you're like, yep, I totally see it.
Okay.
Totally see it. And I want to say a third movie too. He did music for Quentin, which I was like, yeah, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's little things like that was the beauty of the Wu-Tang. It just seemed like it was more than the music. It's like what you open your mind up to and being open to new experiences is like the Quentin Tarantino, all of it. It just was like, there's been no other group, in my opinion, especially for hip hop, that has brought together so many different people of the genres and can commonly say that, this is one of the all-time greatest. You're not going to put a group of 9 guys together and keep them together.
Right.
You only lose one
Yeah.
for health reasons. It wasn't like because he got shot or, overdosed or anything like that.
I thought he did overdose.
Was it overdose? I thought it was just.
I mean, I don't think he was healty,
Oh no, he was not healthy.
but I thought he
Maybe
accidentally.
yeah, it might have been.
But
I'd have to relook. At
Same.
that. But no major incidents.
Right.
I mean, they've stuck together, and I just saw that Raekwon and Ghostface are doing a new album with Pete Rock. I want to say is producing it.
That guy's name is everywhere all of a sudden.
Yeah,
To me,
it is. I noticed.
I don't know if
noticed
it's
that.
because of what I'm doing on the algorithms, but it just.
But yeah, I just saw that Raekwon.
I'm digging
Ghostface. And you take, I've got this shirt. I've got a Ghostface one that looks like the North Face symbol.
Oh, nice,
and
nice.
It just says Ghostface. That symbol. I mean, it's one of those things you see somebody wearing a Wu-Tang shirt. You're like, I could probably talk to me and that dude or that girl could vibe for a minute.
Yep.
And it's once again very few, very few. Even like for you, you're a Fish and Dead and all that. Like I could see somebody wearing it. Like, yeah, we'll probably have some stuff in common.
Yeah.
Like if we start peeling about some layers, but it's not that instant connection.
Right.
Like if I see a Wu-Tang, I'm like, yeah, especially if it's a different one.
Yeah.
If it's I've seen some people that have got like Linus playing the piano, and he's in a Wu-Tang shirt and everything. I'm
No
like,
kidding.
Okay,
I would totally buy that
cool,
right
yeah.
now if I saw
Yeah,
that.
I mean, there's little things like that you'll see people wearing, and you're like, all right, you're not just a fan, but you're like kind of a super fanish if you're gonna see a different style, just not wear the symbol itself. And then like when I walked into that tattoo place and I saw that, I was like, phew. I was like, there's no question. Like if I'm just gonna be drunk enough in Vegas to get a $20 tattoo, well then fuck, why not the Wu-Tang symbol?
Yeah.
And as my buddies over there getting it too, and everybody's laughing like we knew you guys were gonna get the same tattoos.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's the like they make me happy. I'll be honest with you, and it's such gritty music, but when I turn it on, I get happy about it because it's like, God, this is just so good, and it's just so. It's what music I feel like really should be.
Yeah.
It's just it should make you happy, even if it is gritty and raw and talking about subjects that are a little off-putting. It's like yes, like and to know that they're all still going strong.
Yep.
It's still a big deal, and it's gone over for generations.
Yeah.
I mean, Guinness is 14 and loves them.
Nice.
Loves them. And if I had a chance to take him to a show, I would in a heartbeat. I mean, and it's to me, they're a mandatory. If like, okay, here's the 50 artists of hip hop you have to learn to respect and know hip hop, they would be on that list easily, and
without question.
And they'd be in the top 25.
I was gonna say we can drop in top 10, maybe top 15, top 20.
Exactly. Just depends on how you want to you play it and everything.
Well, I'm like I said, like my note said, this was really fun for me. And again, things are different for everybody, but I was skeptical because of my very small handful of experiences with 36 Chambers, and I was like, I hope this is not 7 records of that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard for me to not bail.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bail. I want to like actually pursue this. So I really enjoyed it. And now I think if we move forward and tackle the individual discographies, I think the newness is going to be more even.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much you've
Probably, be honest with you, most of them, the first album, if maybe the first and second, and then
no for the most part.
definitely the first album, most all of them.
Okay,
I would
I've
say.
only because somebody had it for an episode. I've listened to Liquid Swords.
Okay.
That is it.
Okay.
That I know of.
See, in Method, I would have a little bit more.
Okay.
And definitely like Method did an album with Redman, Blackout, which is so good.
Is it really?
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's a definite listen. Check that out for sure.
I've got
all right.
I've got them here in the lovers kit.
Watch out, loving Wu-Tang.
So pull one out and see who we're gonna tackle first.
That's what she said. All right. So who are we going? Drum roll, please. Inspect the deck.
No shit.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So we've got. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 5.
5 albums.
That's not
It's
too
not
much
bad.
to bite off for the first. So let's sometime in the next week figure out like what range of time we're gonna give ourselves to listen and make notes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we can touch base after that window. And hey, are we good? Should we get a date down? And
Yeah.
Do you want it? Does that
sounds
sound
good to me? Yeah.
okay? I kind of just move through the records and the notes, just saying what I wrote. I didn't want to not give you the full.
Oh no, it's good.
Anything-
I'll have more
anything-
notes. It was easy. It's somewhat easy with the group themselves.
Sure.
Now, like I said, like for him, I only know his first album. Like I'll have to sit down albums 2, 3, 4, 5,
Okay.
and listen and make notes myself too. So,
Right. Okay. Cool.
no, it'll be good because you just you got 9 members. They put out a bunch of individual albums, and time keeps going on. So your music, you start to.
Yeah. And he's got a 20-year range. We've got 99 all the way up to 2019.
Yeah.
So he's, never consistency. He's not dropping off or disappearing or any of that stuff. But thank you very
Yes.
much. This was fun.
Good times. Good times.
And I'm looking forward to diving into Inspect the Deck.
Inspect the deck. Yes.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Woo forever.
Woo forever. Talk to you.